Hello everyone, welcome back to the second last task of this series. In this task, we are going to take an array of elements and reverse the order of the array with the help of pointers. Okay, so let's first begin this program. Let's start with an array. Let's take a array and let n be the size of the array. Okay, so basically it will be the number of elements that will be there in the array. Okay, then let's call it array reverser. Okay, and then let's get the value of n from the user. Okay, and once this is done, our uh, input sorry, the number of elements we have decided. Okay, and if you remember, back in the arrays chapter, we have already created a function which scans the array for the input, for which I only have to give the array and the size of the array. Right now, for this I can simply run this command to get the inputs. Right, so I can just do scan array over here with the name of the array. Let's let the name of the array is a comma, the number of elements is n. Okay, so once I do this array, since it's an array, its address will be passed and not the value. Okay, so that address will come over here, and this complete thing will run and get one by one all the elements. And because the address is passed, so this variable a and this variable a will point to the same address, so whatever changes this function does will also be affected over here. Okay, so that handles the input part. Now once we have the input, now we have to write a function to reverse the string. Okay, now to reverse the string, reverse the array, so let's call it create a function called reverse array. Okay, and to which we are going to give a and n. Right, now we have to define this function. Right, so let's create a function. Now because the input is an array, so we need not return anything. Right, so void reverse array, and the input is same as this one. Right, so I will just copy the parameters. Okay, and now what I have to do is I have to run a for loop to get every element from that array. Okay, so for that I will be needing a variable I to run this for loop. Right, then I will run a for loop from I equal to 0 to I less than n. Okay, so n is the number of elements, and I will do I plus plus. Right, so one by one I will be getting all the elements, and all I have to do is I have to replace the value of whatever is the value at the first location with the last location. Okay, I just have to interchange. Right, like for example, if the array elements are 1 3 4 5 and 6. Okay, so if these are the 5 elements of the array, then all I have to do is I have to replace this with this. Okay, so the first element with the last element, then the second element with the second last element, and the fourth element with itself. Right, so this is the swapping that I have to do. Okay, so this is where I'm going to use the pointers concept. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do, I am just going to do a swap command. Okay, swap function, I'm going to create a new function called swap. Okay, and all this function is going to do is take two variables and interchange the values for it. Okay, now in true sense I actually did not need a swap function, but since we have to do it with the help of pointers, that's why we have created this function. Okay, Now in the swap function, let's first before using the swap function, let's write the swap function. Because it is using pointers, it need not return anything, right? So I'm using pointers, then the swap function, right? And then I have to accept two pointers from here, right? So it is of type int, right? Because the arrays is of type int, so the pointers will be also of type int. Okay, so let's call it x and int y. Okay, and right now these are not pointers, so to make them pointers I will just add star in front of it, right? So because these are pointers, so whatever values I am going to send over here, it has to be address. Okay, so that has to be noted. Okay, so once that is done, now I'm ready to swap. Okay, now the logic of swapping, we all know. Let's declare a temp variable, right? And all I have to do is first save whatever is the value at x. Okay, now to find, if I do this, then the address, because x is a pointer, the address of x will get stored at temp. I don't want the address, I want the value at. Okay, so the value at x we can get it with the help of star. Okay, so I've got the value at x, I'm storing it at temp. Then I'm going to find the value at x, sorry, value at y, and storing it in value at x. Okay, and then the value at y will be the temp. Okay, this is basic logic of swapping, but instead of normal variables I am using pointers to swap. Okay, so once you understand the concept of star, then these things are really very simple. Okay, so once I do that, so basically whatever is the because even though the names of these variables are different, it will be actually swapping whatever you are sending over here. Okay, so whatever values you are going to send from here, it will be swapped over here, and that will reflect over here also. Okay, so let's see what how does what values to be swapped. Okay, so the first two values that is to be swapped is, I'm going to swap a of I, that is, let's take the first element, right? And I have to swap it with the last element, right? And the last element I can get by a of if you remember, n minus 1 minus I. Okay, so this was the concept. Just to show you how it works, I will just write down the indexes of these. So 1 0 1 2 3 and 4. Okay, so these are the indexes of these values. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to swap 0 and 4, index number 0 with index number 4. Okay, so let's see if this logic gives me those indexes only. Okay, let's take I equal to 0, right? So this is a of 0, right? And here if I put I equal to 0, and so this will become n minus 1, right? And what is n? N is the number of elements, which is 5. Okay, so 5 minus 1, that is 4. That means a of 0 and a of 4, you can see that is what is getting replaced, swapped, right? Similarly, let's take I equal to 1. Okay, so if this is 1 and if this is 1, then this will become a of 1, and this will become 5 minus 1 4 minus 1, that is 3. Okay, so a of 1 and a of 3, so perfect. So a of 1 and a of 3 will be swapped. Okay, and finally, if when I is equal to 2, so this will be a of 2, and here it will be 5 minus 1, that is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. So a of 2 comma a of 2, so a of 2 will be swapped with a of 2, right? So I hope you have understood the logic of swapping. But now here again, one thing always to remember, right now if you send it like this, then this is actually going to send the value and not the address. Okay, now because this variable is expecting an address, so you have to append or extract the address with the help of ampersand sign. Okay, so now you can see, instead of a of I, I'm sending the address of a of I and not the value at a of I. Okay, so because of this, when I swap, a of I will also get affected because I'm using pointers. Okay, so once that is done, I think my work is done. Only thing left is to print the array to show if the swapping is done or not. For that, if you remember, we have created a function to print an array. You can see the explanation in that video in the arrays chapter. Okay, so basically it is simply printing one by one all the elements with separated by comma. Okay, so now only thing is I have to just call this function wherever I want to show the output. Okay, so let's just do a print array a comma n. So this will print the array, but before that I will just write printf reversed string, sorry, reversed, just let us say reversed. Okay, so reversed, and similarly I would print before reversing, right? Before reversing also I will like to print the original original array 2, right? The same array I'm printing before reversing it. Okay, so at this step it is getting reversed, right? So before that I'm printing it, so it should give me the original array, and here it will give me the reversed array. Okay, so once this is done, now we are ready to run the code. Okay, so here I have added some numbers to explain, so I will remove that and finally run it, and let's see if we get the output. Let's take 5 elements, let's take different values, and you can see we have the original as 32145 and the reversed as 32145. Okay, so let's see what has happened. Something has went wrong. Okay, so I understood what's happening over here. So let's take an let me just show you what's happening. Okay, so let's take this particular example. Okay, so what's happening is it is going it is swapping the first particular index, right? So that is, it is swapping the first one with the last one. Okay, then it is swapping the second one with the second last one, then it is swapping the third one with itself, right? And then it is going ahead and it is swapping the fourth one with the second one, and then the fifth one with the first one. Okay, so basically it is doing swapping twice. That's why we are getting the original string again. So a simple solution is just to run it half the times only. Okay, so we will not run it for till n minus till less than n. We will simply run it till n by 2 only. Okay, so we will just see if let us just find out if this will work. Okay, so let's suppose n is 5, right? So if n is 5, n by 2, so 5 by 2 will be 2, right? So it will run from 0 till 1. Okay, so 0 till 1, and I think that is enough. Okay, so let's try it and check if it works. Okay, so I will just remove this debug print command that I've added. Okay, and let's run it again. Enter 5 elements, and let's see whether it has reversed. So 3 4 6 2 3, and here it is 3 2 6 4 3. Perfect. Okay, let's take another example. Let's take a more simpler one. 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so the input is 1 2 3 4 5 and the output is, sorry, reversed string is 5 4 3 2 1. Perfect. Okay, so I hope you have understood what I have done over here. The only mistake was I was doing the swapping for the complete cycle, so that should not be done. It should be done only up till half of the place, and the remaining half will be handled by this swap method. Okay, so this is it for this task. I will see you in the last task of this series in the next video.